Hello, Pendulum family. Let me get my friend in here. Hello, thank you guys for joining. We're going to talk about gut fuel in just a minute. And I'm going to invite Leslie. My goodness, I'm so glad to see you all here. Excited to chat. Leslie's joined. Let's see if she can go live with us. Let's see, hang on. Accept. Give us just 1 second. Go live with Leslie. Trying to get my co-host in, everybody. Okay, Leslie, it said you were unable to join. She's here. I see you. Let's try this again. Instagram should really fix this, like, techie part. Like, you get your person in and then you go live, so you guys don't have to sit through all the fun.
Okay, I think I'm here.
You're here.
Yay!
Yay. I was just saying, Instagram should fix this techie part. You should be able to get your friend on and then so people don't have to sit through us trying to join each
Right?
other.
I
I'm
know.
so glad that everybody is joining and excited to chat with us. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Hi, Leslie. How are you? Thank you to you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, Christina. Very excited for this conversation. And
Me
welcome,
too.
everyone.
Welcome. We've been having this conversation about gut fuel and fiber and the microbiome. Leslie and I have been talking a lot about this topic last week and this week to our healthcare professionals. But then we decided, you know what? We need everybody in on this conversation just to talk about the new products here at Pendulum and to let you guys know what we are up to. So I'll just introduce myself. I'll let Leslie introduce herself and we'll jump on in. So my name is Christina O'Connor. I am a registered dietitian here at Pendulum Therapeutics. And I love the gut microbiome science. I will break that down for you a little bit. We'll dig into those definitions in a few minutes. But Leslie, take it away for a second.
All right. All right. Well, Christina, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And my name is Lesli Bitel. I'm a registered dietitian. And I work a lot with practitioners on the practitioner side of helping them to build their practices. And I am also obsessed with the microbiome. So working with Christina and Pendulum on some of these projects is such a great fit. So, whether you are just beginning to learn about the microbiome, and do not worry for those of you who are like, wait, what? We're going to define all of that for you. So, whether you're, new to it or been working on your gut health for a while, I think you're going to walk away with some really practical tips that are going to help improve things for you. So,
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, let's start. If you guys want to interact with us, we just let us know where you're joining from. And maybe you have a gut health challenge of your own. So, what are you dealing with right now? Is it maybe bloating or constipation? Are you aware of all of the buzz about fiber these days? And maybe you're wondering, am I getting enough? Do you have blood sugar issues, concerns about your metabolism, overall energy, something else, whatever it is? Just throw it in the comments, and I will do my best to look at those, and we can talk about it. Hold on, got too many things going on here. Leslie, are you able to see what people are commenting?
let me see if I can. I hope so.
I know, me too.
They don't make it super easy, I will say that. So someone has a question, will this be recorded and saved? I think the answer is yes, right?
It will, yeah, and you can probably find it on our page. Yeah, for sure. You can find it on the Pendulum page. Let me see if why can't I see? Either no one's commenting or I am
Can
not
you
able.
guys, yeah, maybe you guys can just say hi and let us know where you're dialing in from. That might be helpful.
Yeah, I will. No questions yet.
Where are y'all
Don't be
from?
shy. Don't be shy, guys. Come on. All right, let's get into the conversation, and maybe that will inspire folks to let us know, what they're dealing with or what particular questions that they have. Oh, Diane's from Huntington Beach. Okay, I'm seeing things pop through now. Awesome.
Let's see.
Hello
Oh, let's
from
see. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Texas. Perfect. From New Jersey. Okay, diagnosed with SIBO.
Ooh,
Hold on, let me go back to that. Took one dose of antibiotics and doctor just asked if I felt better and done. She's annoyed.
don't
Yeah,
blame you.
I know. SIBO is so challenging. We can touch on that a little bit today. Awesome. Well, I'm like so thrilled that you guys are taking a few minutes to join us today. So let's jump right in because I know your time is valuable. Um, okay, so Leslie, let's get into some of these questions.
Okay.
I think, I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing a lot about and reading a lot about that fiber is the new protein, right? That people are just like, it's the thing that everybody's talking about. And I also think that we know that we're probably not getting enough, but I think this conversation, I'd love to help people understand why they should be consuming fiber. So I hate to be that dietitian that's just like, you should be eating more fiber. I think if you have the why behind it, you're more inspired to make sure that, it's a part of your diet. So just generally speaking, and we've been talking a lot about this, the typical range for fiber for people, the conservative sort of traditional grams per day is something like 25 grams per day, which that's actually really hard to do. But when you get into sort of this like functional and integrative space, it really is, they're leaning more towards like 40 grams of fiber per day. So I wouldn't recommend if you're sitting somewhere around 10 to 20 grams per day. Like I wouldn't jump right into that 40 grams, sort of ease your way into it. But yeah, let's talk about ways to do that and, the benefits of fiber. Um, so fiber diversity. Leslie, where should we go next?
Yeah. Yeah. So I love this conversation around, you guys have all heard just eat more fiber, like Christina said, but there's so much more to it, right? Um, and actually, it is really interesting that because the recommended amount, shall we say, was 25 grams a day. So you guys might have, you might be familiar with that number, maybe not, which is A-okay as well. We're just so happy that you're here joining us to learn more about this important topic. Um, but that being said, why isn't that the whole story? Why? I'll ask Christina. So, in
Yeah,
your opinion, why, eat more fiber? Like, that's pretty common advice.
yeah,
But why isn't that the whole story? We're also talking types of fiber that
yeah.
play different roles and diversity. So yeah, take it away, Christina.
Yeah, totally. So it's interesting because I had to sort of re-educate myself. As a dietitian, of course, we talk a lot about fiber in school. We're talking about all of the nutrients that are important to human health. But as I've been going down this journey of gut health and working here at Pendulum and getting to know these truly unique strains that we manufacture, like Akkermansia. So if you're not familiar with Pendulum and you don't have any idea what we do here, we are most well known for being the first company to manufacture live Akkermansia. And this is a very novel strain. And it's also what we call a keystone strain. And keystone just means when it goes missing from the human gut microbiome. And when I'm referring to the microbiome, I'm talking about all of the different organisms. We have trillions of different organisms living within the gut that make up sort of their own ecosystem, and they benefit us and we also benefit them. So it's sort of this relationship that's going on between us and these different microbes. But Akkermansia is what we call a keystone strain. And so again, like if you look at the literature, you look at, all of the science and the studies that have been done on this strain, when it goes missing from the human gut microbiome, we see a lot of negative downstream effects in things like inflammation. So that can be localized in the bowel. So that's your IBS, anything that has to do with inflammatory issues around the gut. And then also, Akkermansia has an incredible part to play in our metabolism. So that's why you're always seeing, Pendulum is always talking about the studies that we've done in diabetes, in helping your body, your gut to increase its own natural GLP-1. Akkermansia plays a really big role in that as well. And so more recently, if you've been here for a minute, you've seen that the dietitians here at Pendulum have always been talking about diet, right? Like we don't just want to sell you Akkermansia and say like, good luck, you're on your own, without educating you on how to support this strain, like how to make it a permanent resident of your gut microbiome moving forward. And so we've always been talking on our website, tons of resources. How can you increase your fiber and also your polyphenols? Because those are literally the two ingredients that feed all of the strains in the Pendulum lineup, in the Pendulum products. Fiber. There are many different types of fiber, which we'll go through some of those, and then polyphenols. That's really sort of the fuel source for Akkermansia specifically. And so we here at Pendulum, we just felt like it was the next step for us to create a product that is uniquely designed to feed those organisms that we grow, those bacterial strains that we put into our products. We wanted to give you an easy, simple way to feed those strains, in addition to all of the different ways that you're supporting your gut microbiome through your diet, right? So dietitians are always like food first, have it on your plate, know what's in your fruits and vegetables, be conscious about trying to increase that fiber. But this gut fuel product that Pendulum has launched recently makes it really easy to just get another extra few grams, right? We made it's just a powder. It comes in a stick pack or like in a bag that you can just sit on your counter. And I scoop it into, this isn't very pretty, but it's my morning smoothie, right? I dump it in here and boom, I've got 6 grams of fiber, before I start doing anything else. Maybe at the end of the day, this is a really versatile product. So like if I'm making a green goddess dressing or I'm making like a tzatziki, this is a flavorless product that you can add into those dressings as well. And so I'll just throw that on top of something. My kids don't even know that it's in there, right? So it's just an easy way to like, okay, let me think, okay, I can add gut fuel to this. And the other unique thing about this is you mentioned we're talking about fiber. There are so many different types of fibers. There are insoluble fibers, there's soluble fiber, and they have different roles within the gut. And so this particular gut fuel has like 4 or 5 different types of unique fiber, along with the polyphenols. So it really is like this complete food, for the strains in the Pendulum products.
And Christina, do you want to talk a little bit about what polyphenols are? and maybe
Yes.
why they're important. And guys, I
Yes.
invite you to ask questions. I see we have a couple
Yeah.
here, and we're going to circle back.
Yep.
But just in case you're not super familiar with what we're talking about here, if you could define what is a polyphenol and why are they so important?
Absolutely. So when I think about polyphenols, they add antioxidants to our diet. And so that adds a protective benefit. And it's usually like these colorful compounds that are within fruits and vegetables. So, you'll hear dietitians saying things like, make sure that your plate is a rainbow, that you have, and that's to help you get different types of foods, different types of fruits and vegetables, but it also helps to support those different types of fibers. If you've got, a color on your plate, like, that you're doing well, you're getting those polyphenols. And so I'll start with the fun ones. So red wine has polyphenols, believe it or not, because of the grapes. And grapeseed extract is actually a polyphenol that you will find in this new gut fuel product. So you're getting your polyphenols in your red wine, but also chocolate. So when you think about like dark chocolate, that has polyphenols. Some of your spices that you're cooking with, this was actually new to me. I don't think that I necessarily understood or recognized that some of our seasonings and spices actually have polyphenol compounds in them as well. Then just a lot of your fruits and vegetables are giving you polyphenols, but then they're also giving you fiber. So you're really like killing two birds with one stone by eating your fruits and veggies. And so I just try to like put a variety on my plate. Like recently for breakfast, I've been doing, I think I see a lot of Instagram influencers doing this, like either some hard boiled eggs, maybe like some sausage, like some chicken sausage, and then like a half of an avocado, like a handful of blueberries, like just wash those fruits and vegetables, cut them up, and put them on your plate. It's so easy.
I love that. Do you want to talk a little bit about um I mean we you defined the microbiome beautifully, and do you want to talk a little bit about just emphasize why that the diversity in is so important, and what and maybe explain a little bit about the role of the microbiome on all of our health systems. It's
Yeah.
crazy. We used to think, well, I'll date myself a bit, but let me just say, when I went through my training, we didn't know about the microbiome, right? It just was so
Yeah,
interesting. It's really like evolved, and now the microbiome is an organ system and
totally.
it impacts everything. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, okay, I'll start there and then don't let me forget. I'm going to circle back onto like cuz I threw out some words like insoluble and soluble fiber,
Yes,
but let's
yes.
break those down. But yes, you bring up a really good point. So just for example, the Akkermansia strain that Pendulum is so famous for was discovered in 2004. So that was really recent. And you're right, gut microbiome science is something that is fairly new to our
Mhm.
understanding. Like we're learning so much more about these organisms that are literally hitching a ride in the gut. You have your skin microbiome, so you have organisms that are living on the skin, but the gut microbiome in particular, the gut reaches all areas of health. So as practitioners, if someone comes to you with a skin condition. So let's say things like eczema, psoriasis, and acne. A lot of practitioners these days are looking back at the gut. What is the state of the bowel? Like, what is the state of the gut? Do you have IBS? Do you have symptoms? Are you dealing with SIBO? Are you dealing with inflammation in the gut? Because a lot of the literature is pointing towards gut barrier issues as being sort of the culprit for these skin conditions, right? So there is a disruption in the gut, within the gut microbiome, and the skin is really just like it's the signal, right, that tells us that something is not balanced, something is out of whack. So that's just one example. But then you can think of even like the gut brain axis. The microbes that live in the gut actually affect our mood, and they actually have a say in what foods we eat, which is so creepy, but so true. So, like, a lot of people will say, I just don't have the willpower, right? Like, my cravings are so out of control. Like, I feel like the Cookie Monster. And what they don't know is that it's not always just a matter of not being able to control those cravings, but it could have more to do with who's living in the gut. Because some of those opportunistic or pathogenic bugs, they actually feed on things like refined sugars and carbohydrates. And so they are sending signals to the brain, and because they want to survive. And so they're saying, like, we need
Feed me.
sugar. Yeah, we need sugar and we need carbs. So, like, they're the ones that are actually craving these foods, and, driving those decisions. But it's interesting. One of the number one things that we hear when people start taking the pendulum products is they have less cravings. And we actually have research and studies to show all of this, but they have less cravings and they feel empowered to have just two cookies and they can walk away. Like, they literally, I've heard people say, like, I no longer feel like the Cookie Monster. I can just have two cookies now and walk away. Over time, as you start replenishing and restoring that balance within that community, within the gut microbiome, you start adding strains like Akkermansia and some of these other butyrate producing strains that you find in the pendulum products. People start to say, I'm craving fruits and vegetables. Like, never before have I reached for a bag of carrots in the refrigerator, or like wanted to eat asparagus, right? Like, you always just, it's like your duty. Like, I know I need to eat my fruits and vegetables. But when it makes sense, because you start restoring the gut with these beneficial strains, and Akkermansia needs polyphenols, and the butyrate producing strains need fiber. And so that's what you start to crave and eat as the gut microbiome, the organisms change and shift and balance is kind of restored. So the gut microbiome really influences all areas of health. So hopefully I made that point. But then when we're thinking about those different types of fiber, so like insoluble and soluble fibers. So some of the fiber is meant to move things through the bowel, right? So like when people are dealing with constipation, increasing fiber is always a great thing to do. Even if you're dealing with loose stools or diarrhea, sometimes consuming fiber, things that will bulk up the stool, it can be really beneficial as well. So like with these products, we've seen people on both ends of the spectrum have benefits. And then other types of fibers actually feed the organisms within the gut. So we've talked a little bit about Akkermansia needing polyphenols. That's its energy source, right? And that's probably why it goes missing from so many people's gut microbiomes, is because if you're not feeding it what it needs, then it really just dies, like, and it just doesn't exist anymore. And so these other strains in the gut, they need these fibers. And what happens is they ferment the fiber that we're consuming. So like we feed them fiber and they ferment it. That's sort of their role within the gut. And then they give us back what's called short chain fatty acids. And so you may have heard the term butyrate. And that is like an incredible currency within the gut microbiome. It's incredibly nourishing and healing for the colon, for the colonic cells. And it actually plays a huge role in metabolism. A lot of people don't know, especially in this age of using GLP-1s, you're designed to make your own GLP-1. And sometimes it's just a result of you missing these very specific organisms, like that are found in the pendulum products. So you put those organisms back in, you all of a sudden start making butyrate again, and that increases your natural GLP-1 production. So before you go thinking like, I need a shot, it's time, I can't lose weight, I can't resist my cravings, like a GLP-1 is the next step for me, take a step back. And I always like to ask, like, what is my body missing? Just like on a really basic level, from vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and organisms in the gut. And then sometimes you'll find that, like, giving your body back those tools that it needs, it will start to perform those functions again for you.
I love that. Does that make sense to everybody? I'd love to hear
Yeah.
how that's landing for everyone. So acromancy, I just want to make sure everyone is, clear on what
Yeah.
that is, because that might be a
Yes.
term where we're like, wait, what is that exactly?
Totally.
So do you want to just make sure everyone's clear
Yes.
on that?
Yes, let's go back, because acromantia is really, it's where it all started here at
Yeah.
Pendulum. So if you don't know, our origin story is incredibly unique. I encourage folks to go to our website, pendulumlife.com. And if you've never heard our founder and CEO, Dr. Colleen Cutcliffe, if you've never heard her speak or you've never heard her on a podcast, and you like this topic, or you're looking for microbiome solutions, do yourself a favor and listen to her. She's incredible, and she's funny, but also she's one of those rare unicorns, right? Like, she's funny, has a sense of humor. She can translate the science, and she's brilliant. And she started this company because she saw a need. And so she'll tell this story a lot of times. She had one of her daughters was in the NICU. As she, you get a lot of antibiotics when you're in the NICU. As she started to grow a little bit older, she saw that she had food sensitivities and allergies that the rest of the family didn't have. And so Colleen is a PhD scientist. She has a background in DNA sequencing. And she started looking at this organism, Akkermansia, and recognized its incredible benefits for us as the human host, and thought, this needs to be available in supplement form. Like, people need to be able to give themselves back Akkermansia. Like, it's such an incredible bug. And so that began the journey of bringing Akkermansia to the marketplace. But I will say it was not easy, because Akkermansia is, I'm going to get a little technical, so just stick with me. It's an anaerobe. And so that means that it cannot be exposed to oxygen. It lives in our colon, and that's an oxygen-free environment. And so they had this grand idea. We're going to bring Akkermansia to the marketplace. Nobody's ever done that before. And they've never done that for good reason, because literally the technology didn't exist to grow these strains in an oxygen-free environment. So they stuck with it. They said, we're doing it. We're going to do it. We're going to figure this out. Eventually they did. And we were the first company to bring live Akkermansia to the marketplace. And to just sort of break down this strain for you so that you can get a sense of, like, what it's doing for us as the human host. I touched on it a little bit. Metabolic things, metabolic, like butyrate producing, GLP-1. Our studies are in diabetes. So it definitely has a huge metabolic component to it, but then also something called gut barrier integrity. And so your gut lining is supposed to be what we call semi-permeable. So we want to allow water and nutrients. Those are good things. They need to be able to pass through that barrier. But it's super important that we keep out the toxins and the pathogens and the opportunistic bacteria, even your food proteins. So a lot of times people will say, like, I have a gluten sensitivity, I have a lactose sensitivity, I can't tolerate those foods. Sometimes it's because those food proteins are slipping through that barrier. And so if you can imagine, they get into a place where they're not supposed to be, and the body says, I don't recognize this. I'm allergic, I'm inflamed. And so that gut barrier is really important. And Akkermansia plays a role in fixing that gut barrier, helping to restore it and replenish it, so that you're keeping all of those toxins and pathogens and opportunistic bacteria from getting into systemic circulation.
I
So
love
as you
that.
can see, yeah, it's such an
It's pretty
incredible bug.
complicated, but very
It
cool.
is.
So,
Yeah.
Christina, would you summarize by saying Akkermansia is a like a probiotic,
Yes.
and the gut fuel is the prebiotic. So, in other words, the probiotic, and this is one of many species, but as Christina said, it's what we call a cornerstone species. So it's really, really important. And many, many people are low on Akkermansia. When you do like gut health testing, it's really interesting. Um,
Yes.
so like we've got, you guys have all heard of probiotics. So we would, right? Am I correct on that,
Yeah.
Christina? We'd
Yeah.
categorize Akkermansia as part of the probiotic family.
Yep.
And then gut fuel is part of the prebiotic, which what does that mean?
Yeah.
You gotta feed the good, you gotta feed the bacteria. Otherwise, they're gonna just die off in your gut.
Yeah.
So hopefully
We
that
like to use
helps a little bit.
the garden analogy, right? So like you've got your soil and you've got your fertilizers. So the prebiotic, or the gut fuel is kind of the it's the food, it's the fertilizer, for these different species. So like if you think about the gut bacteria as being like different plants in your gut garden, and then you come in with the fertilizer, that is the gut fuel. So you're literally giving these probiotics, the food and the fuel that they need to be able to survive, and then they'll stick around because they'll
Yeah.
be happy.
Christina, so I want to make sure everyone, has a sense of who would benefit from gut
Yeah.
fuel.
Yeah.
Right? So we
Yeah.
talked a lot about what it does and how beneficial and the importance of getting a variety of different types of fiber, which
Yep.
honestly is, I would say, a relatively newer concept, to be
Yes.
honest, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
before the conversation used to be just get enough, right? We don't
Yeah.
really care what kind, but it's really evolved into, oh, hold on a second, we need different types of fiber to feed those good bacteria that impact our entire our health and well-being on every level. So
Absolutely.
so if how do you know if you would benefit? Like for example, someone with IBS, okay?
Yeah.
That's so common.
So common.
Um do we yeah, what are your comments? How do we know who's going to benefit if this is a
Yeah.
good choice?
Absolutely. And so I think about like maybe you're taking the pendulum products, maybe you're taking these strains and you just want to make sure that you're feeding them properly. This is a great product to add. Maybe you already have great gut health and you know that you have diversity within the gut, and your microbes are doing well, and you just want to make sure that again you're feeding them properly. Gut Fuel is a great product for that. We did a study. We gave this Gut Fuel product to people, and we wanted to see, well, how do you like it? Are you able to tolerate it? What improvements did you see? And it's really some large numbers, like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, people reported improved overall gut health. But then we were able to get more specific, and people said, I think it was like 72% of people with bloating and constipation said that they had improvements in their bowels, in their regular their stools, and being more regular. And it's a great product that people can add, to any foods. We our tagline is sort of turn any food into a superfood. So yes, if you're experiencing symptoms of IBS, and you're taking probiotics, you're on that journey to sort of restore that balance within the gut microbiome, this is a great product for those folks.
Yeah. And I know, Christina, I had talked to you a little bit about a close friend of mine who, you alluded to this earlier, but in her case, she has so many skin issues
Yeah.
and gut issues, I have to
Yeah.
say. So she
Yeah.
has some gut issues as well.
Yeah.
But her bigger concern was because it's her face, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even acne,
Hmm.
right? And this is an
Yep.
adult woman, actually in her 50s,
Yep.
struggling with like cystic acne and
Yep.
rashes and just so sensitive. And
Yep.
it was fascinating to me that, and guys, just remember, this is like not an official study. This is just, a friend telling me how well it worked, but I thought it was
Hmm.
super cool. um how, yeah, so I mean, she swears by it. Like, her
Yeah.
skin looks beautiful, her rashes are gone, and she
Yeah.
did go off
Hmm.
just to kind of do a little test,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so anyway, so she just said she feels so much better. So,
Yeah.
you
And it
know
was actually dermatologists that brought that information to us. They saw that we had Akkermansia in our arsenal, and they came knocking on our door to say, well, yeah, we need this for our patients. And we were like, well, tell us more. You're dermatologists. Like, how does that work? And they were like, yeah,
mhm,
it's in the literature. Like, you can look up, again, very specific conditions like eczema, psoriasis, and acne. Those
mhm,
are all very closely linked to gut barrier integrity issues. So, like I talked a little bit about earlier, that gut barrier, when it's not secure, and you're allowing more than just water and nutrients and things like that to flow through that barrier, it can come out in the skin, right? It just leads to inflammation, overall. And so, yeah, we were blown away. We were like, oh my gosh, yes, these studies do exist, and these strains are like a really critical part of fixing that gut barrier. And so they
mhm.
they use it in all of their skin patients, and they have some incredible before and afters. Yeah.
Amazing. So bloating, I'm just trying to think
Yes.
through, like, what are some of those
Yes.
symptoms that our
Yes.
audience here today might be struggling with.
Yeah. And somebody mentioned
Bloating. Yeah,
SIBO.
yeah. Do you want to
Yes.
speak to that? Because
Sure. And
SIBO.
that's such a complicated issue. And I think that if you're dealing with SIBO, like, it is super important that you find the right practitioner.
Mhm,
It always seems to be, the recommendations always seem to be changing. But our chief medical officer here at Pendulum, his name is Dr. Perlman. He's formerly of Mayo in Florida, so he's very credentialed. We love him. He still sees patients, even though he's here full time at Pendulum. He's still, on the side, will see patients, and he treats a lot of SIBO. And he's been using the Pendulum products in his treatment protocols, for a long time. So again, I think I kind of mentioned, the role that the Akkermansia and the other strains in the Pendulum products, the role that it's going to play in SIBO is helping to restore that balance. And so you have organisms that can sometimes become overgrown in the wrong places. That's really what you're dealing with SIBO. And so, depending on where you are in that journey, it's different for everyone, but there's certain points along that journey where you would want to add probiotics, and Akkermansia and some of these other strains in the Pendulum products can be really, really helpful for restoring overall balance. So they sort of come in and say, like, you're out of control, you're overgrown, you're not in the right place, like, we're going to get everybody in check.
I love that. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're answering your questions.
Yeah, so I'm going to
So we've
scroll
got
through here.
one, just curious as to where to start. I mean, honestly, what a great question.
It is a great question. And really, the good thing about our products is, There's some overlap. A lot of people start with metabolic daily because it's just a very it has all of our strains, and it's just a very like basic place to start. But you're getting everything. You're getting like five different probiotic strains. And so, like I mentioned, diversity for the fibers is important, but diversity in the gut is important as well. So metabolic daily is a great place to start. Read the reviews on our website about that product, and then add the gut fuel as
Mhm.
well. So you're taking the probiotic strains, and then you're taking the fuel or the food that they need, so that they can thrive and grow and colonize.
Do you have any comments, Christina, from, I think this is Jill?
Let me see.
Um, I'm not sure if you can comment on that.
Let me get to that
Christine,
one. I see. I don't
okay.
want to miss over Anita's
Oh, okay.
comment. So let me take this one
Perfect.
first, and then I'll find your person. So Anita
Okay.
from SoCal, she's just started taking the fiber and acromantia to balance my gut after 2 rounds of antibiotics last year. Yeah, that can be rough. About how long does it take to rebalance the gut? So, um, first of all, let me start by saying like it can take a long time, like sometimes 6 months to a year for the gut to sort of rebound after taking antibiotics. Everybody is different in terms of like how long it takes for the gut to be restored, but adding probiotics of all kinds of different species can be very, very beneficial, and can help to, like, again, support that gut barrier. Strains like Saccharomyces boulardii, I'll say that slowly, I'll say it again, Saccharomyces boulardii, it's not a pendulum strain, but it's fantastic if you have had to take a course of antibiotics. And some of the strains in the pendulum products have been shown to be helpful, like if patients are dealing with symptoms after taking antibiotics or even during antibiotics. So these strains are really helping to like protect the overall gut, and reduce that inflammation. So yeah, I mean, I would give yourself 6 months, and make sure that you're eating those foods to help support those beneficial bacteria, and add those strains in, and just like keep finding different strains to take because they're going to be really helpful. All right, let me get to your question. Do you want to read it? It
Yeah,
was
let's
Jill. I
see.
think I found it. I've been
Yeah,
experiencing
yeah, yeah.
some mild or mid stomach pain, above belly button, pain sensitivity, a lot more gassy. Just started taking acromantia. Anything else you suggest? I would certainly add the gut fuel, especially if you feel like it's difficult, to get different types of fibers in your diet. You know, I will say there's one really unique fiber in the gut fuel product that it's hard to get unless you're eating a lot of potato salad. And so that means cooking your white potatoes and then cooling them and eating them cold. That's where this particular resistant starch or this particular fiber lives. And so a lot of us are just not getting that type of fiber, and it is actually in the gut fuel product, along with things like baobab and acacia. Some of those are polyphenols and fiber combined. So just some really incredible ingredients. Like we really took our time and wanted to source ingredients that were high quality and that we know feed our strains. So yeah, if you're taking the acromantia, I would highly suggest adding some of the gut fuel in as well.
Is there anyone that shouldn't take it? Because
Um,
basically, the takeaway so far is like
it's
it's pretty
good.
much good for everybody, but I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some caveats.
Yeah. And so I think what we hear, like when people are having issues with either maybe the strains or the fiber, sometimes people will say, that's why I said, like, don't, if you're consuming 20 grams of fiber, don't go straight to 40 grams because it can be kind of a shock to your system.
Yeah.
But I can't think of anybody that really should stay away from this. You know, low and slow approach, if you're having symptoms, is always best,
Mhm.
just to sort of get your body acclimated to the probiotics and even the gut fuel. So maybe that looks like taking the probiotics every other day, or maybe it looks like doing
To
just a half
start.
of, yeah, to start, or taking like a half a pack of the gut fuel to start. That way, it's not what I call like a hostile takeover. So it's more of like a gradual introduction.
Love
Akkermansia
that.
can come in, yeah, and do what it needs to do without causing, more symptoms. Because sometimes people will have more symptoms and they're like, oh my gosh, this is not the right product for me. But sometimes you do need to go through that period of things getting a little bit worse before they get better. But usually
Mhm.
that low and slow approach, that takes care of things. Let me see.
We have some questions around, like, the best time to take it, the
Yeah.
best, the best way to mix it, like some of the
Yeah.
practical advice that you might have.
Yeah, absolutely. So this product, because of that resistant potato starch, you don't want to mix it into your hot foods. You certainly can. You're just not going to get the full benefit. Room temperature or cold foods. I even had one of my pharmacist customers use his Ninja Creamy to make like a frozen yogurt, and he added the gut fuel to that. And we had gut fuel offered in ice cream, like a gluten-free, dairy-free ice cream that we did at one of our conferences. So room temperature or cold foods, it does really well in those types of foods, and you can add it literally to anything. And yeah, did I answer both of those questions?
I think so. Oh, did you
Yeah.
did you say the best time?
Oh, yeah. So obviously with food, and then, I take my probiotics and I take my gut fuel at the same time because it just makes sense, right? Like I'm getting
Mhm.
ready to drink a smoothie. I'll take the probiotics, I'll add the gut fuel to my smoothie, and then like I'm done for the day.
I have a question for
Yeah.
you. How should people order if they are interested in
Yeah.
getting their hands on this product?
Yeah.
Both, I would just say, possibly both gut, for sure, gut fuel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then possibly the Acromancia product that you were talking about. Where would
Totally.
you recommend that? How would you recommend that? I
Yeah.
mean, we have full script accounts, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So if you are working with a practitioner, they can recommend the product for
mhm,
you. If you're on full script, or if they're on full
mhm,
script, they can recommend the product for you. And I'll give you this little tidbit. They can give you a discount. So ask them for a
yes.
discount. They have the ability to do that.
Hmm.
But then you can also order it directly on our website, and you get the best pricing if you sign up for a membership or a subscription to the product. You can cancel that at any time. And our customer service is like one of the best. So if you're ever feeling like, I have too many bottles, or, I'm not taking it or whatever, you can easily cancel. But we offer the best pricing directly through us. So the website is pendulumlife.com, and all of the products are there. And I think there's even a quiz, like a really helpful quiz. So you can go in and sort of say, like, this is what I'm dealing with, and it will direct you towards the right product.
Great. I think I might have my full script just in case. You have two options, guys, basically.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
to the website, go to the Pendulum website, and that's pendulumlife.com or
Yep.
.co,
No, it's
right?
dot. It's actually dot
It,
com. Yep,
is
it's
it?
dot
Okay.
com. Yep.
Okay. So pendulumlife.com, and you can get yourself set up. I honestly really do love that idea of having like the subscription, right? So you don't
Yeah.
have to think about it. It just
Mhm.
shows up at your front door.
Yep.
You're good to go. You've got what you need for the month, and it's
It makes
easy.
me take my supplements when I have, because I'm like, there's another bottle coming, so you better
Yeah,
take your supplements. I
I
have them
know.
all sitting out on the counter, which my husband hates, but they're all sitting right there
Yeah,
staring at me every
yeah.
day. And
Same.
so I'm like, it's time
Because
to take them.
it's easy to forget, right?
It's
So
very
I
easy
would
to
just
forget.
say the fiber, make that a priority. I would
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you want to really make that a priority. Um, so anyway, you can order direct right through pendulumlife.com
Yep.
and set yourself up, get yourself a subscription if that seems appropriate for you.
Yeah.
And you can also, if this seems like a easier choice, you can I actually might, I think I have my full script. So as practitioners, we, and you guys might not even know what full script is. So
Yeah. Somebody
right?
said the subscription on the website is better than the full script discount.
Okay,
So
there
there
you
you
go.
go.
Do that. Do that. Go.
Do
I
that.
would do that for sure.
Oh,
Um,
somebody said I just got my first product today. Oh my goodness. I hope you love it.
yay.
Keep in touch. Yeah. Like,
Yay.
write
We
us
love that.
messages. We do.
Let us know how that works, how you feel. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe, you know what might be helpful? Because it's really interesting. When I used to experience this a lot when I was in private practice working with clients,
Yeah.
you kind of forget, like, you forget how
Yeah.
bad you felt,
So
right?
true.
Before you made a bunch of changes, it becomes the new normal when you start feeling good.
Yeah.
So maybe like write down your symptoms, how you feel today before you start taking
Such a
the
great idea.
product, and then kind of revisit that 10 days, 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
and I'll bet you'll be really surprised at
Tina just said that she's going to start Metabolic Daily soon. It should arrive today. Yay. And so she's asking, should I also start the gut fuel or wait? I say just get it and start it right
yeah.
away. Like get that and add it to the arsenal, because then you know that you're supporting the probiotics that you're taking. So yeah, I would add it. But that's such a great point, because sometimes people will blow off like an improvement in stool consistency. Like they'll see that right away, whether it's
Hmm.
constipation or they're dealing with diarrhea, like either one. They'll see that improve and not even think about
Hmm.
that as necessarily a benefit. And that happens like usually within the first couple of weeks for a lot of people. So, yeah, even just the smallest things, keep track of it so you can tell.
Yeah. Did we get to all the questions, Christina?
Let me just make
Think
sure.
so.
Somebody said that mayo is their next step. They're gonna go. That's
Okay.
awesome. Lucky you.
Let's
And I
see.
think we got them all.
You
Yeah.
guys
Pay
feeling pretty
attention.
good?
Yeah, I'm so glad to see everybody here. This is
So
incredible.
fun. So
Pay
fun.
attention to your food cravings too. Like if you're adding metabolic daily, pay attention to that was like one of the weirdest things for me. And it's excuse me, it for me it was not necessarily like a sugar craving, but it was I liked salty foods. Like there was never enough salt on anything that I was eating. And after taking these products, things taste appropriately too salty now. So it like
Oh.
changed my palate or something, like in a way where I don't crave salty foods. Like I don't crave putting extra salt on things. So we've looked at the products in all different types of foods. So sugary foods, sweet foods, fast foods, high fat foods, and the numbers were astonishing. That something like 80 to 90% of the people in the study reported a reduction across all the categories of food cravings. And that was from everybody who had really intense cravings. I call them cookie monsters. And then people who said like, I just have the occasional craving, maybe for women it's like a monthly craving. Even the people that just reported occasional cravings had a reduction. So it's really interesting. Pay attention to food cravings. You'll see a big difference.
Yeah.
um, I'm so excited that you guys joined us and that you're getting ready to receive your products and start taking them. So please keep in touch with us and let us know how your journey is going. We like want to hear from you. This is why we
Yeah.
do what we do.
This is so exciting. It's so
Yeah,
fun to interact with you all.
I
So
know it
thank
is.
you so much for joining us. I hope you got just a ton of value from spending part of your day with Christina and I. I know we had a blast.
Yeah,
So I also, hopefully I spelled everything right. I did put a comment in pendulumlife.com just in case
awesome.
you guys want to go to the website, look at some of the educational content that is there
Yes.
for you to learn.
Yes.
And because it
Yeah. If
really is
you're,
such a evolving, fascinating topic. Like you're going to be
yes.
so cutting edge, right? If you go
Yes.
there and um, you know, learn a little bit, or maybe you just want to go and get yourself gut fuel, get started on that process. Highly
Yeah.
recommend. It
Yes.
really
If
does
you're
make a difference.
hungry for more information, definitely go check out Colleen in one of her recent podcasts. She was recently on the Armchair Expert, so that's one of her most recent and conversations, and it's just such a fun conversation. So if you're hungry for more of this type of information, you want to learn more about the gut microbiome, go check her out. All of that stuff
No,
is on demand.
no pun intended, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hungry for more.
Hungry for more.
Yay.
Awesome. Well,
Okay,
thank you,
guys.
Leslie. Thanks for doing this with us.
Thanks,
Take care,
Christina.
everybody.
Bye for now, everyone.
Bye.